VG.
Hey, BT, I don't think these niggas hearing me, bro. Yeah. I don't even gotta do this raps. Hey, I don't gotta rap, yeah. I don't gotta rap. I could just stick to the trap, cause I know that I'ma be rich. We on the map, I send no work in this raps. They gon' pull up with them sticks, pop up at your party, sippin' Bacardi. You make a move and we shoot us a flick. Don't get no warning, we go retarded. No, we can't leave till we empty the clip. Poppin' these out of raw, got me up for some days. You know I ain't missing no plays, now I got on watching. Ducking and dodging a raid, but it's all a part of the game. These niggas be plotting, try and throw dirt on my name. They think we ain't talking them things. You reach for my pockets, hope they remember your name. Bet that we busted your brain. I don't gotta rap, I could just stick to the trap, cause I know that I'ma be rich. We on the map, I send no work in this raps. They gon' pull up with them sticks, pop up at your party, sippin' Bacardi. You make a move and we shoot us a flick. Don't get no warning, we go retarded. No, we can't leave till we empty the clip. Don't gotta deal, but they know my name, they know what it is with me. I rock with the mob, they hate on the gang. These niggas, they envy me.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Georgia Tech Dynasty. Back with you for a post-game recruiting episode coming off a big-time win over North Carolina in Chapel Hill. 45-31 the final score. Just another ranked win to add to our resume. That's 5 consecutive wins for us since the season opening loss to Notre Dame. Big second quarter really fueled the win. The offense was spectacular. Pretty much the entire game had a little bit of hiccups in the first quarter, but the defense was good enough for us to win, and we hand UNC its third loss of the season. They're at 4-3, 2-2. We're at 4-0 in the ACC. You look at the stat box, pretty much dominated here. The one thing that UNC did really well was run the football. Their quarterback was a perfect 17 for 17 and had 121 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So we struggled to bottle him up, but our offense was unbelievable. Matt Slater, over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns after a pretty rough start. I think his first, a couple of his first passes were picked off. He had 2 picks early, then responded with the 3 touchdowns. Chris Grant, unbelievable, 5.5 yards per carry, 138 for the game and a touchdown. Sean Brown's really the story of the game, though. True freshman receiver, career game, 150 yards, 21 per catch, 2 touchdowns on 7 receptions. Best game of his career thus far, but I have a feeling he's going to have some better ones over his career in Atlanta. Jesse Livingston also pitched in a touchdown, and Bryce Petty was solid. Defensively, Peyton Wilson had 8 tackles, 7 of those solo, and 3 tackles for loss, which is unreal. Michael Little, our strong safety, had 7 tackles, so our safeties had a lot of work because the quarterback was, and the running backs too, were pretty much in the backfield in the secondary every time they ran the ball. So the safeties really had to step up and play well and do well with in-space tackling, but collectively, our defense made the plays when they needed to be made, and we get that win to move to 5-1. We probably have the most impressive resume in the nation to this point with 3-4 ranked wins. We took down Oregon State, handed them their only loss of the season. But now let's keep building for the future. We're back on the recruiting trail. Calvin Johnson Jr. still our top recruit on the board, and we're doing okay. Kind of no change here between last week and this week. By the way, if you missed any previous recruiting episodes, I will tag 1 or 2 right here, along with any games you guys have missed. There's a whole playlist. I tagged it early on in the video. Just hit the info button in the top right corner, and you can find it there. But a couple other guys on our board here. Mike Butler, 4-star quarterback. Or maybe he's a 3-star, but he's 74 overall, so in my book, that's a 4. Micah O'Neal, big-time offensive guard. Travis McMillan, 72 overall center. We're looking really good on a lot of these guys, but we kind of have an issue because we've already signed 14 guys to this class. We have 11 outgoing seniors, so, crunch the numbers there, a bit of a problem. Barrett Robinson, we're in the lead for him as well. I don't think he's a take, though. We got 0 points on him. I don't know why every single week I take the points off these guys. They still have 700. The next week, I have recruiting assist off, so I don't really know. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section below. Quarterback, though, we still need 1, and like I said, we already oversigned in this class, so I'm not really sure that I'm going to go ahead and fill that need this year. We might just take a walk-on or play with 2 quarterbacks and just kind of figure it out. But 14 guys signed in the class, only 11 outgoing seniors, and we looked at this last week in the recruiting episode. Not a lot of juniors that I think could go pro and leave the team. So we might have a situation in which, I'm coming in for my first year. I didn't recruit half this roster. Actually, I didn't recruit pretty much all of it, aside from last year's class. There's going to be some situations where maybe I force some guys out and I force them to transfer because they're just not good enough to play for our team. But we'll continue to monitor that situation going forward. Let's see if we get any movement with some of these prospects going into next week, and we'll hash this thing out in just a few moments. All right, let's see what we got. We got an offensive coordinator upgrade, and we added 2 more commitments this week, which I should be pleased about, but I'm not really pleased about because we continue to oversign this class. We're giving out spots that we simply don't have. But Mike Butler, the quarterback, hops on board, which is good. We fill the need there. And then Travis McMillan as well, the center. We already have a center in this class, but our offensive line is kind of weak, so I don't mind bringing in more bodies. And just because he's recruited as a center doesn't mean he can't play guard. But I go back to the overarching theme here, which is we're continuing to bring guys in that we don't have room for, and it's kind of annoying because I'm putting 0 points on a lot of these guys, but the recruiting assistant, or whatever the heck the game is doing, is continuing to keep points on them to make it seem like I'm interested in still bringing them in to commit, which I'm not. I kind of am, but I'm really not because I don't like to oversign classes and stuff. So that kind of sucks. But let's go ahead and look at our new commitments because I'm not going to cut them. We're not going to go ahead and do that. Calvin Johnson Jr., before we get into that, locked us out officially. If you are new here, that was the recruit that I made beginning of the season for us to, use in our dynasty because Calvin Johnson played at Georgia Tech, but he clearly doesn't want to play here, so that sucks. But Travis McMillan, 6'6", 298 pounds, 77 pass block, 76 run block, 75 impact block, 80 strength. So definitely a solid recruit here. South Carolina also offered him. He had Georgia, Bama, Florida also looking at him. And we kind of led there start to finish. So nice little win for us there. We can use him at center. We can use him at guard. He's going to battle with the other center in our class. I believe his name is Jesse James, and we'll go from there. Butler, 75 speed, 73 excel, 86 throw power, 78 accuracy. What else we got? Pretty good elusiveness, good carrying. So he's solid. He's a dual threat quarterback. Had Ole Miss and Georgia looking at him, but no other offers besides us. 6'3", 203 pounds. So that's good size. I like that in a dual threat quarterback. But let's look at our offensive line incoming class. So Tom Coach, I believe is how you pronounce that. That guy's big, 6'7", about 300 pounds. Mike O'Neal, 6'6", 330, which is unreal size for a guard. And then 6'2", 308 is Corey Marshall. And then there's our other center recruit, Jesse James. He's 6'6", 338. Did I read that right? McMillan's 6'4", about 300. So James has a bit of size on him, but I feel like McMillan's got a little bit of athleticism there. So this is a really, really good incoming offensive line class. I would put it up against any other recruiting classes in the nation, specifically the offensive line. But as a whole, we have a really good class too. Second in the nation, just trailing Oklahoma. 15 3-star commits, 1 2-star commit is probably worthy of a 3 or 4 ranking, honestly, because I don't just take 2-star commits for the hell of it. You saw there Duke is in the top 10 as well, which is really crazy. It's nice to see some of those schools you don't expect bringing in the big-time recruits in the top 10 in this game. So let's look at the 40 numbers and whatnot for these latest commitments. So McMillan, 430 bench, 585 squat. Not even looking at the 40 times. I don't really care for a center. And then Butler runs a 472, 330 bench, 325 squat. So respectable. Maybe I'd like him to be at like a 4.6, but for a quarterback that's 6'3", 203, I think that's fast enough, just to be dangerous. And it's not the end all be all. Maybe he'll improve that before he gets ready to go to the league because we do a pretty good job of developing quarterbacks. Might get Matt Slater to that point this year. But let's go ahead and look at our roster and see if we had any XP bumps for this week. Maybe a couple. Guys that got in last week got a couple of reps and moved up a little bit. So Earl Edwards is one of those guys. He moves up from 79 to 80, so that's hype for him, getting rounded up. He didn't even play last game, so I'm not really sure how he got bumped up, but he did. Brandon Petty got a +1. He's up to 87. And Andy Robinson, a guy that I have not really heard of, moves up to 68. Brandon Bailey, our starting left tackle, is up to 77. That's really rare. You don't often see offensive linemen or defensive linemen get overall bumps, so that's awesome. We need our offensive line to be a lot better, in my opinion, at least in pass protection, so not going to complain about that. Jonathan Williams gets a +1 at D tackle, another position that I will not complain about improving because, as you saw last game, we got gashed pretty bad by UNC's run game. But now let's go ahead and see if we can single out some guys to drip out for this week for drip of the day. And I say this every week. If you guys have ideas for someone that played well or made a nice play that is wearing like a Revolution helmet and looking really dusty, let me know. We will fix their appearance, give them some more style. That's called drip of the day, and that's what we're doing right now. So I'm trying to think. I'm going through. I didn't really have a lot of ideas for who to give it to because a lot of the guys that stepped up in our last game are players that are, impact players for us, and we've already styled out previously. But I think I ended up going back to the offensive side of the ball because all the guys in the safety room, for the most part, have been, already earned this honor, and same with the offensive star players like Chris Grant and Matt Slater and some of the wide receivers and whatnot. One guy that's really underrated, Brian Gutierrez, our starting fullback. You know, Chris Grant's the guy that gets all the hype and all the praise for his big-time runs, but both the offensive line and Gutierrez are the guys that are actually sparking and creating those holes. So let's give my boy Brian Gutierrez some style. He's been a force to be reckoned with in the run-blocking game this year. All right, with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and just look at a couple of other things before we round out the episode here. So taking a look at the ACC standings, we are in first place solely, 5-1, 4-0 in conference. You got Miami, who is right behind us in the top 10. We have yet to play them. Virginia Tech, we have yet to play as well, 2-1. Just beat North Carolina. They're down to 2-2, may already be out of the conference race. UVA is our next game on the road in Charlottesville, and then Pittsburgh's down in last place. Over on the Atlantic side, Boston College and Florida State, 1-2. BC's having a great start to the season, 6-0, 3-0. They've been a power for the past couple of years. My alma mater, Syracuse, not doing too hot, 3-3, 1-2. And not much else that's notable going on the other side. But for right now, it appears as though, you know, we're going to win the Coastal Division. They're going to win the Atlantic Division. And it'll be Georgia Tech and Boston College in the ACC title game. But we still got some work to do in terms of college football playoff. BC's up at 3. We're still sitting outside the top 4. We're at 15, but we've moved up from like wherever we started. I think we started in like the 90s, maybe the 70s, somewhere way down there. And we're up to 15, man. And we're only halfway through the season, so we got some more building to do. And there's a lot of undefeated teams still, which is crazy. There's like 8 or 9 undefeated teams in the top 10. But some surprises down to the bottom. Central Michigan's in the top 25. North Texas is in there. Minnesota's up there. You don't see them up there very often. But no other real surprises than that. North Carolina's still in the top 25 despite having 3 losses. But, hey, man, if we can just keep winning, stringing wins together and picking up some resume-building wins, we could find ourselves inside the top 4. We got some opportunities to really get those wins with Miami in the regular season, and then I think we have a couple of other ranked opponents on there later on. Boston College for sure if we see them in the ACC title game. But let's go ahead and give our OC an upgrade. We use it for mostly running back upgrades like breaking tackles and elusiveness and stuff like that. Never a bad thing where you can give Chris Grant even more weapons to work with. And as far as national statistics go, we're doing all right. Slater's in 7th in passing yards. I don't really care that much about these things. It's just kind of cool to keep up with and see where everybody's at. Grant's in the top 25 for rushing yards. Petty's way down there, 422. We have a really balanced receiving core, though. It's not like, you know, we have an alpha dog and everybody else is kind of just an auxiliary cast. It's really 3-4 top receivers, and we just roll them and we get them all the ball because we got some playmakers. But that's where we stand. 15th in the nation. We move up 5 spots from last week. And next up for us is a road trip against Virginia. 2-4, 2-2 in the ACC. Lee Corso is rolling with us. I love going to Charlottesville. Their stadium is unbelievable. Their venue is unbelievable. Should be a great game as we are back on the road. And I can't wait. Hope you guys can't wait either. Be sure to come back for that episode. But before then, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and keep it locked, man. We'll be back soon with the game.